My next guest is former GB Olympian swimmer and 6-time world champion, Mark Foster. Great to meet you. Mark, you're a legend in our neck of the woods. We've got some good swimmers in Nottinghamshire. Rebecca Adlington was a great swimmer, but you, 6 times world champion. But you was a bit of a bad boy back in the day, weren't you? 15, 16. Tell me about that.
I don't know how bad it was. I think looking back and reflecting on, obviously, we all reflect when we were much younger. I think a lot of my bad boy image was down to the fact that I was gay, didn't want anyone to see it, and my frustration was taken out on, well, if I create this facade, then no one will see the sort of real me in a sense. And also I was just a young teenage kid that was probably just playing up, like most kids play up. But I think the deflection thing was because I was gay and I didn't want anyone to see it.
So I guess at that time, like 80s, early 80s, mid 80s, being a gay man in the spotlight, that must have been very difficult for you. Times are different now, obviously.
Yeah.
But for you, macho sport, macho body, doing great stuff.
I think it's basically sort of late 70s, early 80s when I grew up in Southampton-on-Sea in Essex, and all the mods and rockers used to come down to the seafront on bank holidays. For anything I saw from playground, changing rooms, the street to TV to play school or Sunday school was, being gay was not an option. In terms of, I just heard bad stuff being said, and of course, I think the thing is when you sort of go, okay, I'm not sure if I'm gay straight or what I am, because I wasn't really sure at the beginning. I kind of went, okay, but I don't want to be called these names. I don't want people to sort of not that I saw people being beaten up on a daily basis. I saw a lot more now, I suppose, in a sense, but I kind of feel that I hid myself because I was worried about what people might think. Whether that was friends and family, I was worried about what people might think when I got sponsors. Will I lose my sponsors? So you kind of create this secret life.
So there must have been a big part of you, Mark, that made you feel unhappy inside, but another part of you driving to be a world champion.
Yeah, I think I was never a tortured soul. So I'll never say that I was one of these people that really, really struggled. I got used to having a secret life, living 2 separate lives. There was kind of Mark the swimmer, and then when I met someone at 21 years of age, that was kind of like the real Mark. But I made sure these 2 worlds never met, and that's probably like people at work. I don't know. We all decide what we choose to share with our work colleagues, our friends, or our family, or even our loved ones. So that just became, I think, because it was ingrained at such an early age, I wasn't tortured by it. But then again, I'd be in certain situations with the lads in the change room or the lads in a hotel room talking about random bloke stuff, which is irrelevant most of the time. But I'd always be sitting there going, be careful what you say, get your story right, do not go red. And that kind of became the story.
So you're a gay man. They say in the closet, don't they? That's what they say, in the closet. Is that the right thing to say? I don't know.
I don't know either, but that's what they say.
That's what they say, in the closet. You're in the spotlight as well. How do you meet somebody?
I don't know. It's just sort of one of those things that just snuck up and hit me, I suppose, in a sense. But I never was looking for anything.
Okay.
Because I was kind of like, that isn't the way that I can live. So I had girlfriends and I played around a little bit. I was at Millfield School as a kid, 13 years of age, where I had my first sexual experience with a man, well, with another kid. I was 13 years of age. But it was one of those things that then it was kind of, I don't know, where do you go and meet people? I never went into a gay club. I've probably been into gay clubs twice in my life now. Okay. And that was not to meet somebody that was dragged along with the Strictly crew or something else. So no, it was never, I never let my sexuality identify me, but then that's because I probably was afraid of what my sexuality meant to other people as opposed to myself in a sense. But was that the driving force behind that made me a successful swimmer? I don't know. Was it one of those things that I didn't want to be seen? So one of those things, put your head down in the pool and just try as hard as possible. So therefore be successful in the swimming pool. So people will go, you're a successful swimmer. So they're not going to look a little bit deeper about who the real person is.
Well, you were a successful swimmer, Mark.
Right.
Now, your first world championship, how does that feel when you touch the bar?
It feels good. When you train to do something or you train towards something, it's one of those moments of, okay, I succeeded and it worked. I think you learn a lot more from when things don't go well. From the failures you have. I don't think of fail from action. I learn you do something, get a result. But when you touch the wall and all the hard work is fastest human being on the planet, fastest man to travel through water, it's pretty cool. But it's then again, you come out of the water, the next day you sit down with your coach and go, okay, what's coming up next? What competition have we got next? what we're going to focus on next, and how can we change things, how can we tweak things to make me go faster.
Was there much money involved, no, not at all?
No.
Did you have a second job?
No, so as a kid, there was no money in swimming. Swimming was very, very amateur. Like most sports, they were amateur in a sense. It became professional after 96 Olympics. We got 1 Olympic gold medal. Do you know who that was? 96 Olympics in Atlanta, 96. 1 Olympic gold medal. It was 2 people. Reg Raven Pinsent.
Okay.
We won 1 Olympic gold medal. We came back and the sports and the arts and UK sport went, okay, that's not very good.
Yeah.
So the sports and the arts put money into swimming. Yeah. So sport became professional after that. So not until that point did we get better and better and better. When I started out in the sport, 16, 17, 18 years of age, to make ends meet, because there was no money in it.
Yeah.
I worked as a career driver, fitted double glazing windows, groundsman, lifeguard.
Wow.
I lifted on building sites, lifting plasterboards around. The only job that I did not enjoy doing was sitting in a council office doing filing. And I think I'm not very good at sitting still. So I kind of realised that I was good at doing stuff.
So we've got the Olympic Games next year in France. And obviously some young people will be going there. Would you sooner be a young swimmer back in the 70s and 80s or a young up-and-coming swimmer today, ready for the Olympics next year?
I'd rather still be doing it.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things you come to a realisation that when you're in sport that you got a timeline.
Yeah.
Because there'll be a point when your body can't do what your mind's asking it to do. And I retired at 38 and I eked it out as long as possible. Do I think things are different? I mean, things have changed an awful lot.
Yeah.
From the science that goes into the athlete, the science what goes into the way they train, what they eat, the way they rest, etc., etc. There's a lot more involved now, and it's more specific. When I started out in the sport, it was very much you're a swimmer, you swim up and down the pool for 2 hours, regardless whether you're a sprinter, long distance, you do this.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's a bit more of a science, which is, well, if you're a sprinter, you do this kind of training. You don't do this kind of training because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's to teach your body to do what you're going to ask it to do. So things have changed an awful lot. I think naivety was probably one of my things because we didn't have the World Wide Web or anything. We didn't know what other people were up to. So when I was swimming, it was very much believing that the people you were racing against were clean and there weren't any drugs in the sport. There were, and there was a lot of Eastern European countries back in the day.
Did you suspect that at the time, Mark?
No, we kind of talked about it, and on the women's side, it wasn't so prevalent on the men's side, but it was clearly must have been there. Yeah. So 88 Olympic Games in Seoul, I think East German women, this is not Germany together, this is East Germany, West Germany separate, they won 12 out of 13 women's events.
Wow. Next
year, Olympic Games 92, Germany together, didn't win one. Or they might have won one with Francesca Van Almsick. But basically what I'm saying is, I mean, what a massive shift. So all of a sudden the wall comes down and everything's transparent. You can't cheat anymore. But they were cheating back in the day, like there was a systematic system in place in Russia, probably a few years ago. I never got on the block thinking I was racing against people that were on drugs. And one of my nemesis was a guy called Alexander Popov, a Russian. You probably heard of him. He never popped off. Anything, very good. So, but he was unbeaten for about 9 years, and technically he was the most gifted swimmer, freestyle I think I've ever seen. But was he doing anything? I never know. But I never got on the block thinking he was. So I think innocent till proven guilty.
So the sacrifices you must have made as a young person to be a world champion, not just you, your family as well, because that must have meant early mornings, sometimes late nights, your parents sacrificing all sorts of things, money and their own life as well to get you there. That's some sacrifice, Mark, isn't it?
I think the person that probably sacrificed the most was my mum. So bearing in mind, I started early morning swimming when I was probably 8 until 13 years of age, and I got a scholarship, fortunately, to go to Millfield School. Family couldn't afford to send me there, but I got a scholarship. But until that point, from 8 to 13 years of age, for a 5-year period, I swam 5 mornings a week. Yeah. So my mum would get me up at 5, give me breakfast 5:15, put me in the car at 5:30, and then I'd be in the pool till 8 o'clock every morning, Monday to Friday. I mean, at school, I was known as chlorine boy. I was the cleanest boy in school. But my mum, I mean, literally, and I didn't think about it, and you don't appreciate these things, but when you look back and be like, I mean, she made a huge sacrifice because she then had a full-time job.
What keeps you, as an 8-year-old, doing that day in, day out for years and years? What keeps you doing that?
I've got to hang out with my mates.
Is that it? Yeah. Simple as that?
My mates were at the swimming pool, and if I didn't go to the swimming pool, I didn't see my mates. And you swim up and down for 2 hours, and you might have a chat for 10 seconds and off you go again. And I don't know, I kind of like that. I like being around people. I like being around like-minded people. But
see, I was out with my mates, smoking, bird nesting and pinching apples. So, lovely, Mark. Great to meet you. Thank you.